Hello and welcome to the City of Cedar Falls Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for Wednesday, October 8th of 2025. I call this meeting to order. Could I get a roll call, please?
Alberhaski.
Here.
Gribovich.
Here.
Hartley.
Here.
Henderson. Johnson.
Here.
Moser.
Here.
Sorensen.
Here.
Stallnaker.
Here.
Watkins.
Here.
One absent tonight.
All right, thank you. First agenda item tonight is the approval of minutes. Looking for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. This is the time for the meeting for any public comment for anything that is not on the agenda tonight. If anyone would like to speak, I don't see anyone, so we will move on to old business. We have two agenda items tonight of old business. The first one is the rezoning from A1 agriculture to an M1P planned light industrial. And Michelle has that.
I do, thank you. And this is the public hearing for the rezoning. And
Is it working? Technology problems here.
what am I doing? You think it's... Well, I'll just go up to the...
Oh, here it goes.
There we go. All right. The site is located off of South Union Road, and it is southeast of Technology Parkway. As mentioned before, there's two small lots that are being rezoning or proposed for rezoning. The criteria of rezoning is three simple questions. Does it meet the comprehensive plan? And it does. Is there access to public services? The two lots will be combined with the existing West Viking Road Industrial Park, so it will have services with that, and it will have access to, if it's rezoned, it will have access to the street network as well, and as the same as the services. And then South Union Road access will be closed once it's combined with that subdivision.
Change to the next slide, please.
I'll just go to the...
Well, thank you for accommodating.
All right. Well, as part of this is also approved master plan, and they are proposing some changes to the approved master plan by extending the trail that goes around the stormwater pond up north and carry down to Technology Parkway, and then they'll continue the trail to Innovative Drive. The berm that was protecting these two lots, since they were residential before the city bought them, will be removed, and the tree easement will be continued as part of what's above to the north. And then this also has design standards that will be continued on. And with that, staff recommends approval of the rezoning, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Does anyone have questions for staff?
I was just wondering why that wasn't all part of that originally. Was there an owner there that didn't want to sell at the time or something? Or?
Correct. Those two were, when the preliminary plat came in 2021, there were two houses there, and that's why the berm was proposed there, and the city was able to purchase the properties last year, or
Gotcha.
2 years ago.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you. Was there anyone from the public that would like to speak to this item? Okay, bring it back to commission for any further discussion or a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Could I get a roll call vote on that?
Alberhaski.
Aye.
Gribovich.
Aye.
Hartley.
Aye.
Henderson. Sorry, she's absent. Johnson.
Aye.
Moser. Aye. Sorensen.
Aye.
Stallnaker.
Aye.
Watkins.
Aye.
Okay, that will move on to council.
All right, thank you very much. Our third agenda item tonight is a public hearing for City Code Text Amendment, Neighborhood Parkland Dedication, and once again, Michelle has this one.
Thank you. Our consultant is not able to be here tonight, but if you remember, she did present to you about the park dedication at our last meeting, and I have most of the slides to go over briefly. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them, or we can go back to a slide if you have more questions. So this park dedication is looking at how to, or the park dedication is something that we have been doing, and having a reasonable portion of buildable land be dedicated to the city for parks. Our current approach is simple, where it lists 3 different places in the code for park dedication, and having the subdivisions meet the need of the neighborhood, the needs for the neighborhood that was proposed. So there's no formula, and it just becomes a case-by-case negotiation with each application. So there's many benefits to proposing a new approach with a formula of creating a level playing fields for developers, establishing clear expectations and predictable requirements, help determine the cost of development more accurately, and ensures parkland provisions are adequately met for new community and for growth. And this is, just briefly, the next slides will go over these provisions that will be in the park dedication. And as mentioned, these are not in order as is shown in the code itself. So the dedication formula is based on the number of acres of parkland per 1,000, and then in this case, we're proposing 6 acres, and a cap of 10%. So a proposal coming in with 1,000 residents, and that would equal 1.74 acres in a park. That's a similar size to Overman Park across the street. There had been some confusion last meeting about how that formula fits into a single-family development versus multifamily. And then the slide shows that if it's 2.5 units per acre, of around 4 to 5% of the land would be dedicated for the parks. And if it was the same amount of units, but the formula changes to reduce the number of people, that means, or equals out to 13.2% for 14.3 units. And that's why we were proposing a cap. So as mentioned before, it's having land that's suitable for usable park space. And no credit would be given to streams or floodways or floodplain, wetlands, storm drainage, steep slopes, land in easements, or private amenities. And the location would be recommended to be on the edge of a subdivision or middle of a really large subdivision. And this would also be guided by the park's master plan. So there'd be dedicated methods of actual providing the land, or if it's for a smaller development, alternatives of payment of lieu of land, or combine of both. And these alternatives would be case by case. The developer's responsibilities would make sure to have utilities connections as needed, a public sidewalk connecting the street frontage, pedestrian connections to nearby trails and through block sidewalks as needed, and the site prepared to city specifications. The actual changes related to the codes are found in these sections as attached into your staff report. And also changing clarification and establish consistency technology in sections 26-179, which is the RP Plan Development District, and then the MU Mixed Use Development District. And with that, staff recommends approval of the text amendment, and then available for any questions.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions for staff?
I do have one. Since you're at the computer, would you mind going back to the slide where it talked about the two different single-family versus multi-unit? Yeah,
Yes.
This helps me visualize my question. What size of a development triggers this requirement? I got to think that if it's this example is 14 units, especially for the multifamily, 14 acres, or excuse me, 7 acres, and 0.98 acres or 0.7 acres with the cap. Eventually, we don't want a super tiny little park. So how does that get determined when someone has to give land versus if it's a small development that doesn't need to give land?
So this would be at time of preliminary plat or plat development, master plan development. And the smaller subdivisions, they would have the opportunity to choose fee in lieu versus having a smaller piece of land.
Thank you. And then that actually ties into my next question is, how is the fee determined, the dollar amount?
Through the market analysis.
So there's an appraisal required that's agreed on between the city and the developer, but it's based on the post-development price of the land. So the developer should have pretty good idea. And then, so there's an acreage amount, and then you just take that times the appraisal, the per acre appraisal amount. And then those dollars would be put into a fund. She flashed up that map, but the city's been divided into, 15 districts, Michelle? Right? And so, say one of these small developments where the city's determined that it's appropriate for them to pay a fee in lieu of dedication of land would go in whatever respective district that development's in. And then that would be in a pot of money that then could be used to acquire new parkland, maybe next to an existing park, or new elements in an existing park. If there's a park there already, maybe a brand new playground or something might be built with some fees that were paid in lieu. But it could accumulate in that account until the city decided there was a project that we could add to the amenities in that particular park district.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak to this item? All right, bring it back to commission. In general, I like this idea. We need to have something in place every time we go to develop an area or a developer comes that wants to develop a new subdivision. So I like that in place, and I also like the fact that it seems now that developers, it's an afterthought. Here, this piece of land I can't build on, I'll try to dedicate it to the city and that's not always the best place to do a park. So this gets it, we're talking about it on the front end so that we can make it the accommodation. So I really like this. So looking for a motion or any discussion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Could I get a roll call vote on that, please?
Alberhaski.
Aye.
Grubevich.
Aye.
Hartley.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moser. Aye. Sorensen.
Nay.
Stallnaker.
Aye.
Watkins.
Aye.
Okay, that motion carries, and that will then be carried on to City Council for setting a public hearing.
All right, thank you very much. That ends old business. Now we move on to new business. We have a College Hill design review for a new garage, and I believe JD has this as he'll come up to the working computer.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. This is a new case for tonight. Let me get to the slides. Yes, it's for a College Hill neighborhood overlay design review for a new garage for a property at 2210 Tremont Street. This property is located nearby to Ormond Park, just kitty corner from the Ormond Park. This property is in R2 zoning district and also within College Hill neighborhood overlay zoning district. The request from the applicant is to build a new garage, which will be replacing the existing single-stall garage on the property. The intention behind this project is the garage was built in 1940s or 50s. It's old and they are not able to use that efficiently. So this will be a new single-stall garage would be helpful to accommodate the needs of the owners. And since it's in College Hill overlay zoning district, any new construction or of a detached structure that exceeds 300 square feet in area requires a review by Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council. So that is why we are here to discuss this. So just showing a site plan of what this is. So as you can see, there's an overlay of a red boundary. This is where the new garage will be placed. Currently, they have a garage which is 10 by 28, which also includes a shed that is tied with the garage, which will be all demoed to make way for this new garage, which will be 12 by 30 feet. As per code, a 2 feet setback is required from the side property line, which this building will meet, and then minimum separation between the principal structure of the house and the garage is 8 feet, which will also be met with this project. When we talk about College Hill overlay design review, we talk about architecture compatibility of this detached structure with other detached structures in the neighborhood. We talk about what materials they're going to use and whether this is in line with the overall character of the area or not. For building design, what the owner is proposing is to use 4-inch Norindex premium vinyl siding, which will be similar to the vinyl siding, 4-inch vinyl siding on the house. And they're going to use exposed fastener steel roof, which will be also similar to what is currently out there on the principal structure. The overall height of this detached structures will be about 11 feet 6 inches, which will be lower than the principal structure, which is about 19 feet, and then 360 square feet of floor area. The one-stall garage will be about 38 feet recessed from the principal building line that fronts towards the front property line. I think the requirement is 18. They are doing more than that. So with this project, the applicant is also doing some other facade updates to this building. They are going to change the existing 4-inch vinyl siding to match what they are proposing with this new garage on the principal structure, as well as they are changing a couple of windows that are not energy efficient and need of a more energy efficient windows. So overall, they are doing more updates to this property to make it more better than what it is. About the building design, the code requires that both the materials on the principal structure and the detached structure are similar. In this case, they are. The size and the scale of the garage are similar to other surrounding properties. There's a image that shows other different houses on the same block. As you can see, they are all mostly detached garages, and they are set back from the house or in the rear area, and the scale seems to be 1 story high, and which will be similar to what is being proposed. This addition would be a good practical project for the owner on site to meet its requirement. With that, staff recommends approval of this College Hill design review application to add a new garage to this property, and subject to any comments by Planning and Zoning. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for staff on this one? Is the petitioner here tonight like to speak to this item?
I don't need to say
Nope,
anything.
you don't need to come up and speak. Nope. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak to this item? I'll bring it back to commission for any discussion or a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. So, yeah, could we get a roll call vote on that, please?
Okay. Alberhowski.
Aye.
Gribovich.
Aye.
Hartley.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Moser.
Aye.
Sorensen.
Aye.
Stallnaker.
Aye.
Watkins.
Aye.
Okay,
All right, motion carries.
now we'll move on to council.
All right, the last two agenda items tonight are going to be presented together, and we'll have to do separate votes on it, but there is RP Master Plan Amendment for Wild Horse Ridge. Then there also is a preliminary plat amendment to the Wild Horse Ridge, and JD has this tonight.
Yes, thank you. Yes, these are two items. First is the RP District Master Plan Amendment for Wild Horse Ridge subdivision, and also preliminary plat amendment to reflect what they are proposing on the master plan. Oh, sorry, this is not. Okay, here's the Wild Horse Ridge subdivision. It's on the west side of Union Road and south of West 12th Street. The area in red highlights the subdivision boundary for the entire 148 acres. This property was rezoned back in 2005. So the development since 2005 has been going on in this area. A total of 10 additions were phased out for the entire 148 acres. The first four additions were built until 2021, and then in 2021 there was an amendment that was requested to the preliminary plat and the master plan to accommodate by-attached units. 40 by-attached units in edition 8th and 9th, and they had some design guidelines for those by-attached units, which was part of the development agreement that was approved at the time in 2021. Since the 2021 approval, Wild Horse Ridge, they built the 5th and the 6th editions, which are all constructed and ready on site today. And since the final plat that was last platted expired in January of 25, so their current plat is expired as per the subdivision code. So here is why they are proposing the 7th, 8th, the remaining portion of the Wild Horse, which is the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. This amendment will allow the applicant to proceed the construction of the remaining phases, and also when such a situation occurs, we try and see whether the proposal meets all the subdivision code requirements and whether it meets all the platting requirements. So here is why we are reviewing this today. So as mentioned, this is a map of Wild Horse Ridge. At present, there are 1 to 6 additions all built. The only remaining pieces are one in orange, which is the 7th. The one in purple is the 8th. One in green is a 9th, and the yellow is 10th. So those are the 4 remaining phases today. Just a summary of what the current master plan that was last approved in 21, what it does allow. As I've highlighted, the currently built out portions are not shown in here, but the current master plan, there is one north-south street, Lariat Lane, that provides a connection to West 12th Street, as I've highlighted by a red border. That is the only access point to West 12th Street. There is one street stop, Kelso Court, as indicated by yellow arrow, that goes to the western property boundary, which will be extended to, which will be providing a way for any undeveloped property to the west of this area. And then a total of 146 lots are being proposed in 7th, 8th, and 9th editions, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th editions, as I've indicated. The 7th edition includes 18 single-family lots, 8th, 26 single-family and 22 by-attached units. 9th is 39 single-family and 18 by-attached units. And 10th edition, it will be 23 single-family lots. The building design for those bi-attached units were specified in the developmental procedures agreement, so they are still in effect. With the proposed master plan, there are a couple of changes that is being proposed to address the recent code changes with street connectivity and updated right-of-way. So there are a couple of things that is being changed with this proposed master plan. So firstly, the north-south street, the Lariat Lane, will still be there to provide the one connection to West 12th Street for this entire subdivision. A total of 4 street stubs will be added to the west property line in place of 1 that was there previously. And then another street stub will be extended eastward, as I've highlighted on the screen. That will be to A1 zone property that is along the West 12th Street, just between the perimeter boundary of the subdivision. Besides that, a traffic calming measure at T intersection of Wildhorse Drive and Lariat Lane, as I've highlighted in a circle. That's where the traffic calming measure will be provided. And then updated right-of-way width for 66 feet width to accommodate green space, utility infrastructure will be provided for all the stubs that extends to the western property boundary. And then a section that I've highlighted in blue that extends from a T intersection of Kelso Court and Lariat Lane and all the way to the south. A total of 140 lots will be built in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, 10th edition as I've highlighted up here. So those are the big changes to this master plan. With regard to preliminary plat, things are mostly same as what they were for the rest of the area. So 25 feet front setback, 20 feet front setback for secondary streets as specified on the preliminary plat, 5 feet side yard setback, 30 feet rear setback, and 35 feet perimeter setback. That will be mostly in the rear areas of the lots. I just want to make a note that there are no structures or fences or landscaping is allowed in the any easements area if there are any specified on the plat. As per code, the lot sizes and the lot area for a single family is 60 feet, minimum of width is 60 feet, and minimum area is 6,000 square feet. Whereas for bi-attached unit is 30 feet minimum width and 4,000 square feet of lot area. All of those minimums are met with this proposal. Again, I wanted to stress importance to the street layout and the connectivity. So as you are all aware, recently approved street connectivity ordinance was passed. Since this development has been going on since 2005, it will be difficult for the developer to accommodate all those needs. But generally this Wild Horse Ridge area is well connected except for the 2 cul-de-sac. I think one leads to the stormwater area and the one is being proposed in the 8th one. So we're not generally asking to change all those layouts, but we wanted to make sure that any future stubs that are extended to future undeveloped properties are at least provided to ensure that any undeveloped area, like the A1 zone next to it and the undeveloped area to the west develops more connected, providing more means for ease of traffic, providing reduction in emergency response time, and more well-connected neighborhood as per the intent of the code. So with this master plan, the preliminary plat shows that all those 4 stubs that we talked about will be extended to the western property boundary and 1 to the eastern property boundary. The 2 highlighted in the dark blue color will be part of the 8th edition. The orange one will be part of the 9th edition. And then there will be 2 stubs that will be part of the 10th edition. Along with that, as I mentioned, a traffic calming measure for a long stretch of Lariat Lane will be also in place. For that, the developer has proposed to reduce the width of the street from 31 to 26 at that T intersection of Wildhorse Drive and Lariat Lane. Recently approved right-of-way width as part of the subdivision code requires that right-of-way for all local streets be 66 feet in width to accommodate utility area, space for trees and sidewalk. Again, it would be bad to require those right-of-way spaces for existing planned lots that are already planned. So again, this will be applied to all those new stubs that are being extended to western property boundary, and then as highlighted in red, and then for a section of Lariat Lane that extends from the intersection of Kelso Court and Lariat Lane all the way to the south. That way, anything that is developed down in south and west will have those 66 feet wide right-of-way to match whatever comes in the future. There are some technical comments. There are some minor label correction that needs to be done on the plat. Staff is working with the applicant to update the developmental procedures agreement to make sure that it matches this new layout, and then clean up any pending things that they have. So that is still ongoing. Staff notes that a signed developmental procedure agreement will be required prior to this case being considered by City Council. With that, staff recommends approval of the proposed revisions to the RP master plan and preliminary plat for Wildhorse Ridge, subject to all technical comments that we highlighted and any comments and directions as specified by PNC tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, JD. Does Commission have any questions for staff?
Yeah, is there parkland set aside then? Was that in there somewhere?
No, there's none.
How does that fit?
So right now, there's not a parkland dedication ordinance that's on the books. So when this development came through, originally in 2005, at that point in time, that would have been considered, it was part of the subdivision code to require parkland to meet the needs of the area residents. But for whatever reason, at that time, I think there was some court cases going on about parkland, and I can't put my head, into the minds of the council members and the P&Z members at the time, but at that time, they decided not to require any parkland in this particular development. So it's certainly a topic of discussion here, and it is a renewal of the preliminary plat, so it is certainly a topic you could discuss, but staff kind of weighed.
All right, because I'm curious how many acres is all of that, and how many acres of park would they need to set aside, and how many lots would be lost is what I'm curious of.
I haven't calculated, but the total area of this entire subdivision is 148 acres.
148 acres?
Yes.
Which with our formula would require how much parkland then?
So it's based on the number of lots.
15 acres?
It's based on the number of lots. So
Right.
I think we'll have to calculate. Sorry, I don't have the exact figure in front of me.
So
Well, the 10% rule would be 15 acres, right?
well, a single-family subdivision would never reach 10%.
Okay.
That's what we were trying to demonstrate with our presentation was, unless this was a high-density
Well,
development.
148 acres would be what, 5 acres, 6 acres? What's our formula for that?
So
Based on the
how
number
many
of lots.
how many lots are in this last part of the
140. it says.
140. So we showed an example of a single-family subdivision that had 100 lots, and that was 1.7 acres.
So about two.
So, a little over 2 acres
Little over 2
for this remaining portion.
2.5 to 3 acres then.
Yeah.
Okay. And each lot is less than a quarter acre, so just for perspective for everybody, because it's kind of what I've been saying, how we drive up land prices is that would be, they would take 8 to 10 lots potentially out of resale for the park space. So we would add that cost then to all the other property owners, so.
Right. I think there was an analysis in your staff report for the park dedication ordinance, and it talked about the, average cost per lot, probably around $800 per lot, that would be spread around.
Well, when we take lots out of
And then-
resale, from the developer standpoint, the street still costs the same to put in, the land costs the same to buy, the infrastructure costs the same. So if you take, 10 $80,000 lots out, then that price needs to get divided up amongst all the remaining lots. That's kind of what I've been saying about the whole
Right.
park thing. So this neighborhood doesn't require that. So they've kind of got an advantage over the guy that's going to try and design something 6 months from now. But it's whatever. Just want to point it out.
It certainly can be a topic of discussion. This is a renewal of a plat, and it's certainly open for discussion.
I actually was thinking about the park space as well. And I think because this is up for us, I absolutely think that we could maybe ask for some level of park. I don't think you can fault the developers for not providing, in the rest of the development, which is the majority of it, but based on this 140 new ones, I would be interested in having a conversation about what could they do for something for this neighborhood.
Yeah. My only caution on that is that we've approved it in planning and zoning, but city council has not approved that as far as being,
I would think that we would still go on what's currently on the books, is we could still require a reasonable amount. I think the as of yet approved could be a guideline for us possibly, but nothing which is currently proposed doesn't seem to be reasonable to me.
I think I would take the other approach. While I'm absolutely for the parkland dedication, I think it's a little bit, they're at the end zone here. And so they would have to Gordy's point, I guess, they would have to readjust all of their planning and cost model and everything to that, only because they designed to the current ordinance. And because we literally approved it today, it feels like they would.
we've already added several other lanes going out the other direction, which is part of our ordinance that was passed several months ago, so that we made them come compliant to that. So that probably already eliminated 3 or 4 lots. That's what happens when you add streets. So anytime we take away lots, we just add the cost to the other lots. The developer doesn't eat it, it doesn't disappear, it just adds the price to the lot. So, you take $100,000 and divide it up amongst 10 other lots, then they're $10,000 more each. That's just what it is. So just as long as we're cognizant of that we talk about affordable housing, and then every time we do something like the parks thing or like adding streets, and it's not that it's not all necessarily bad, but we just need to know that it's hard to preach fair housing and affordable housing when we're adding to the price. So that's all.
So we just did a quick calculation. It ends up to be about 2 acres.
2
For
acres.
the remaining 140 lots that are in the subdivision. That, for comparison's sake, that was about the amount of parkland that was set aside in West Fork. When we did the original West Fork, that was before the formula, for the northern portion of West Fork, 2 acres were set aside in that development. So that's just for some context there.
With the expiration of the original, and now us having to renew this, does this potentially fall under the residential TIF dollars that might be available?
I think that would be something that a developer can answer that. Yes, but I think.
I would assume that would be an unexpected benefit of having it expired and coming forward.
The residential TIF is applied at the final plat.
Yeah.
So each one of these final plats, the developer could request residential TIF. And the parkland, it's been determined, could be incorporated into those costs.
any further discussion on that? Any more questions for staff? Is the petitioner here tonight, would like to speak to this item?
I'm with the engineer. I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Anyone from the public like to speak to this? Please come up.
No, you go first. Go for it.
Yeah, come up, name and address for the record, please.
My name is Jeremy Swanson, 904 Cherrywood Drive. I live in the neighborhood next to this. I think, as you mentioned before, the parks plan is important. We need more green spaces. 146 lots is a lot of families. There's already a lot of families there without a park, without green space. They have to go all the way down to Birdsell. And I know that that will have some financial, some issues with that. But green space is what brings people to a community. It's what builds community. It's where kids get together. It's where families congregate. It needs to be part of a community. It needs to be part of a neighborhood. As a neighborhood that doesn't have one, built in the 70s, we don't want to look back on a neighborhood and say, we wish we would have done this. And they should be included. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Yeah, please, come up to the mic, name and address.
I got a list.
All right.
I'm Julianne Weaver. I live at 4416 West 12th Street, which is on that thingy. I'm the small rectangle that is being surrounded by everybody. So I'm like 20 years late to this decision. We moved here 2 years ago. We love where we are. Love it, love it, love it. We knew it was going to be developed when we bought the property, but we didn't know it was going to be developed quite this heavily and with this many duplexes. I know I'm late to the party, but there are a few questions that we have. The biggest one for sure is, sorry, I'm going to my list here. That road that's going east, that is going now, it was originally going to go, so we have I'm looking at this, can you guys see that same map?
Yeah.
We have the rectangle, and then, oh, there it is, yeah, and then there's the L shape, the backwards L. The original road was supposed to go behind his property, I believe, is that right? Where's the old?
That arrow is where it is currently.
Planned. Where's the original? Yes.
There was no stop.
Right, originally, yeah. So in the 7th edition, that was the only road that was going through. Now we have a road literally stubbed to go on the backside of our property and through the farmland that is right now kind of buffering us and the next door property, which has been there since 1896. It's a big deal. Like, this was the original farmhouse, I believe, for this property. So I'm kind of, it's disturbing to know that there would be potentially a road going next to my backyard when there wasn't one originally planned. I get that they're trying to meet requirements now with the new roads going out west. This one coming through the east, I'm kind of confused about this. And what is the plan by the developer or by the city, I don't know, to mitigate what that does to our property? I can't really imagine that a road increases value. And assuming that that road goes through, that means that that farmland is gone, which probably also means that there's additional houses being put through there. I don't know. That just says that it's done to help future resale value, or how does it? It's listed out like this is potential income or something. Anyway, any thoughts?
Is that all your questions?
No.
Okay.
That's one.
If you could list your questions. and
Oh, I'm
then
sorry. Okay.
City staff or developer can try to address those questions.
Thank you. Okay. So the noise, traffic behind our home, that's the first one. The timeline, is there a timeline for this whole operation to begin? It just seems like stubbing a street going east provides no future opportunity for value to anybody other than a developer. Like, it doesn't do anything for us, it doesn't do anything for the current owner or another family to purchase that. It just says, please blow this up into 15, 12, 10 new homes or whatever. What is the plan for the water and the pond? When we bought the home, we were told that in the corner of, so like it's like to the left of our property, to the west of our property, the northwest, that was going to be like a retention pond. It's a very wet area right there, and so I can't tell, and it's very difficult to read. I'm getting older. My eyesight's not fantastic, so I don't know if there's still a pond planned there. I'm not quite sure. Is that still planned, and is that required by the city for the developer to put in a retention, some sort of water help? Also, in front of our property and then the one next to us, and including in Cherrywood too, we all have ditches that go across 12th Street, and that helps with the water. And so I'm wondering, are there sidewalks going in? What's happening to the ditches for the water management? Because that's kind of a big deal. And then is there going to be a continuation of the Cedar Falls trails going right on 12th Street? What is the plan for the traffic? We're all kind of concerned about traffic. Already flies down there, but there's only like 10 people that go down there. So it's a 45-mile-an-hour road, even past our house, even past the current, what was it? It was the Wild Horse Second Edition. It's 45 miles an hour, which seems kind of crazy because there are small kids that live right up to that road. That hasn't ever been changed, as far as I'm aware, to 25. So we're kind of wondering, what's the plan for the traffic and for the streets? And it just stinks that we're here at the tail end of this beautiful westward facing property that's quiet right now, but it's basically gone. It makes me sad. And I totally agree with the park need. Like, it was passed tonight, but they did put in all these stubbed roads, so I think they should. I mean, it's a huge neighborhood. There's a ton of families that will be moving in. So those are my questions, comments, concerns. Do I stand here, or do I have a discussion?
I mean, either if the developer comes up, he needs to have the mic to speak at. So no, if you got all your questions out, I think we tried to write them down, and then we'll try to address those.
Thank you. How do you, when? Like tonight, or, is that when that happens, or is this like
Yes.
in another meeting or something?
At this point, we can take it, I mean, either direction. But no, the game plan tonight is that we would vote on this tonight, yes.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's on the agenda, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But depending on where the discussion takes us, it could be moved forward, but.
Oh, my goodness. I don't understand how that road that's planned behind my property and through somebody's private farm right now is going to come into existence. Or I know, like, that takes him selling his property and us losing that buffer between the neighborhoods. That's why we bought that property. That's why he bought that property. And I can't speak for Cherrywood, but it's kind of been a quiet place for a long time. And in the name of progress, we're kind of losing that. And I don't know what the plan is to mitigate some of this busyness and all the families. And I don't hate people, but I love my space. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming up and speaking. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak? Name and address, please.
Bill Jordan, 603 Baker Drive, but I own the 20 acres across the street. I'm currently in the county. I've got field tile that run through that ditch and go into this subdivision. My concern is, what are they going to do about them? That water's going to, the ditch now, like this lady says, is wet. every time the city or county or somebody goes through that road ditch, they break the field tile. I fix it. I'm done fixing it. This spring, it was that deep of water. Now, those tiles all run all the way down to the pond. Originally, when they tile it, and you tie into the next one. I believe the original development agreement said they were going to pave 12th Street all the way down to the end. Is that still what they're doing? And I was told at one time they were going to fill the ditch in, put storm sewer along there, or, storm water. Is that still happening? Or is it just going to be an open ditch like across from this lady's house, and it all fills up with water in the spring? The gentleman that lives on the corner of Cherrywood, he can't mow the ditch because it's wet. But those are a couple of my concerns.
Okay. Thank you very much. So we have a lot of questions to address. Where do we want to start? Does staff want to try to address some of these?
I think the developer should answer
Okay.
some of the technical questions about the stormwater management of the subdivision.
A lot of that's part of the development procedures agreement that he should be able to.
Well, I would like the developer to answer you to answer the technical questions about the drainage issue and where the stormwater basin and the stormwater is proposed to go as the engineer for the project.
All right, Larry Kuzman, CGA Engineers, 3029 Rainbow Drive. As far as the stormwater drainage, the proposed detention pond there west of the smaller property there, it's supposed to be able to, the storm sewer is supposed to accommodate the 100-year storm coming out of that once it gets built up to there. So, and it's supposed to accommodate any of the stormwater coming from north of 12th Street as well. Because there's a couple drainage pipes that cross the road there, so it's gonna take care of it.
So can we bring up the plat again, please? The actual, it's in a different,
Yeah, switch that to the plan, right?
there we go. So Larry, you're talking, there is a proposed detention pond that's
Yep.
west of,
Is that triangular piece there
Yes.
behind those curved lots?
Yeah.
That's the detention basin?
Yes.
right.
Okay.
So
It
maybe
catches the
just-
stuff from the north on the other side of?
That was all part of the development procedures agreement that was done in 2021.
Okay.
There
And
was
that's,
some
and then that is
provision in
tiled,
there.
that is then from that pond tiled down to the big pond? or-
It'll run through the whole storm sewer system down to the big pond.
To the big pond, yeah.
Because there's something about upsizing everything up to there to accommodate all that water coming.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Right, I think there was an agreement to upsize some of the piping for the stormwater drainage to get it down to the big pond, right?
Yep. And there will be, so as far as I'm aware, when we do a subdivision, we have to put sidewalks along like 12th Street anyways, because we have to do it along the boundaries of the subdivision. So, and we do it along that detention pond anyways on 12th Street, because that's
Right.
part of the.
So there is a separate agreement that the city has with, I think it was done a long time ago between the original owner of this subdivision, and then it was transferred to Skogman later, but there's a roadway agreement for improvements to 12th Street. So as this development occurs over time, based on an acreage amount, every time they final plat another area, they make a payment to the city for a portion of those improvements that are along 12th Street. And then at such time as that addition, I believe, that's right along 12th Street would be built, then the city the city would use some of those funds. Obviously, it doesn't cover everything because the city's covering a lot of that cost, but that was supposed to contribute toward the improvements to 12th.
You're saying to pave 12th Street and put storm sewer? Actual
Right, storm
get rid of
sewer
the
and
ditches?
sidewalks, and to improve it to city standards, to urban standards. Right now, it's kind of a rural cross-section with ditches, and that would be then improved to urban standards. And we can certainly bring more information back on any of these questions. There's not a requirement that it has to be approved at this meeting. If there's a lot of information, questions that you all have that we can bring more information about back to you, we're happy to do that.
Yeah, I'll try to run through some of these. The roads are pretty much set in your development. I mean, you're not going to be moving roads right now, so.
No, but the one stub we added that was going through that farmland due to recommendation by the city.
So I can speak to that just a little bit. When there was a new owner of that L-shaped property, they did approach the city and ask about potential development in the future. And so I think in the previous subdivision, we at least, because we had the development stubbed a sewer to that north property from the south to that property so that it could be extended and so that L-shaped property could develop in the future. And that was based on an inquiry from the new owner of that property. They wanted to know what kind of potential it is for redevelopment in the future. So with this opportunity now, the idea is how do we get roads? They would have had to extend a cul-de-sac basically from 12th Street. So this is an opportunity to get a through street instead of a cul-de-sac there. So it's only there if this property owner decides they want to develop it in the future. It's just setting it up to have the ability to develop land that's adjacent to the subdivision. It's not requiring if they've changed their mind and they want to live there for many, many years without any development occurring, that's fine as well.
But the stub would still go in.
The stub would be there to provide that opportunity.
Okay. Timeline on development, on the phases?
Basically, 7th, we're looking at building out this year, or doing the construction, initial construction this year and finishing it up next year. Last time I saw the schedule, I think it was 2033 was when 10th edition was supposed to be done, so.
Okay. And then, yeah, retention pond, I think you've addressed a little. The small retention pond actually feeds into the larger one on the sub.
Yeah, it'll run through the whole storm system of the subdivision down to there.
And then the Cedar Falls trails, you're addressing sidewalks, but it's not necessarily part of the trail system, but it would be.
Right, yeah, we don't really deal with a lot
Okay.
of that stuff, so.
Right. And then, all right, does anyone else have questions for the developer? I kind of tried to write down everything. I hope I got everything. Okay. Any other questions? Otherwise, the next question would be, as far as Mr. Jordan's question on the ditch and that water there, same thing.
Typically, if they're improving 12th Street, they're going to tie those tiles into the storm system. I can't say exactly. I'd assume they'd want to do 12th Street when they do 8th edition, but I don't know.
Which 8th edition would be approximately how far out?
Well, probably 3 years.
3+ years out, okay.
Probably 2 years, maybe.
Okay. And does the city have a game plan on, I mean, are those improvements happening when that addition happens?
I can certainly bring you back information from our engineering division, our public works department, on the timing of what's anticipated with the improvements to 12th Street.
Okay. All right. Is there any more questions for the developer? Otherwise,
Nope.
okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So I'll bring back to commission. We've had a lot presented to us, and we have also discussed requirement for any parkland, so.
I guess maybe just a question for city. There was brought up about the traffic, and I was just curious, I mean, obviously, we're talking about 12th Street and as we go further west, but the additional, number of homes, which will take many years, obviously, when do we get to a point where we're looking at the impact on Union Road and 12th Street, and, when does that happen to think about traffic studies and adding lights out there, and, when does that kind of happen in this process?
So typically, when you're doing an entire preliminary plat, there would have been a traffic study from the very beginning of that process. So the improvements to the roadways to handle single-family subdivision traffic, I think, Union Road is an arterial street, and 12th Street is also a major thoroughfare. So those would be already designed to handle that kind of traffic. Okay. And all intersections are evaluated, major intersections, if it becomes a problem for traffic, the city's always evaluating those for improvements and, roundabouts or traffic signals. But they would have to trigger certain warrants. It'd have to be a certain amount of traffic going through those intersections, and it'd have to be studied at that time to determine that, it's now warranted to have a signal or a roundabout, for example.
Okay. Thank you.
So this does have a connection to 12th Street then, correct, is the way it looks?
Right, from the 8th edition, I believe it will have a connection there.
'Cause currently, I think there's just two ways out of that neighborhood, so that would be another additional way out.
All right.
I just wanted to get back to a little bit my personal thoughts on the park. I do feel like 140 units can qualify for a reasonable amount of parkland, so I'm not looking at it necessarily to fit exactly into the new procedure that we just passed tonight. But personally, I would like the developer to come back with a sensible amount of park dedication space with this development. Again, based on the current code about being reasonable and all that. That's, I guess, my thought on it.
I would echo that. I think that while we seem to be kind of at the end of this road, I think that, especially given our recent parks analysis and gathering feedback from community members, now that we know better and we have an opportunity to do better, I would like to see if there's the ability to add some type of green space into this development. There are a lot of families, a lot of homes. I think that the impact on Birdsall Park is going to be significant, and so it would be, I think, very reasonable for us to ask for some type of green space within this development.
Yeah, and, if we look forward to, obviously, there's a good chance that we're going to utilize that land off to the west. It's going to kind of put an unfair burden on the residents of that subdivision because these residents will be utilizing their park. Not to say that they can't, but, we'll have one park for two subdivisions.
All right.
I think we're going to have a hard time implementing something that has not been passed by council. Remember, we haven't passed it, we just moved it to council.
My personal opinion is we go off what's currently already on the books, not the new one necessarily. So I'm not asking for them to abide by the exact 6 per 100, et cetera, but I do think it's already in there for a reasonable amount.
So what the code says, I think we have it in our staff, it says that every development shall provide open space for the open space needs of the residents of the development. And so always the debate has been we haven't had a formula to come up with that, so we've had to sort of judge that. Now we've got a park master plan that talks about how much parkland we typically have in our neighborhoods, so that's why we've come up with the formula that we have to show what sort of that means, what that statement means in the subdivision code.
Okay, thank you. So now, what do we do moving forward? Of course, we could make a motion to this and vote it up or down. You could do a motion with amendments to it. We could push this to the next meeting and ask for changes to it. I'm open to.
I would personally like to see a version from the developer that does include some type of green space, so we could see roughly where the best spot for that would be, how it would change things. I would really like to take the time to see where we could fit that green space in, and also give time to answer some of the questions that we've had tonight. I don't know that we're in a place to necessarily vote on this to move to council. That's my opinion.
Okay, and how do we get those?
Well, and some guidance from the city on the 12th Street.
Okay,
Real
sure.
commitment.
Yeah,
on
more information.
when they're really thinking about that's going to happen. So-
Right, I can provide that more. You know, it's very typical for you to take 2 meetings for a preliminary plat, so this is not unusual at all to take an extra meeting here to talk about questions that have come up. So if you need another meeting, I would just continue the meeting to the next, and we will try to bring back answers to some of these and answers about 12th, and we'll talk to the developer about the desire for parkland, and bring it back to you then.
Okay.
If you'd like to continue that.
Okay, so to continue it to the next meeting with just a motion and a voice vote, and then that would cover both, that would just be for item 5, and 6 just won't be addressed tonight?
Yeah, you can do it for both, you know.
For both, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, please?
Do we want the developer to decide when they can bring us things so that we have a chance to review things?
Yeah, will next meeting be enough time?
Well, I don't know if the developer's here tonight to speak to that, so we can certainly talk to them if they don't feel like they have enough time to consider some of these things before your next meeting. We would just bring it back to the next meeting. So I would just ask for some flexibility on that. If they need more time, we'll just advise. So you could just continue this to the next meeting. I don't even know if you need to vote. You can just say you're going to continue this to the next meeting.
Just continue it to a future meeting, and maybe that'll be on the next meeting if we
Right,
can-
yeah.
Okay.
Right, and we'll try to, so for those folks that are here that are interested in this item, did you all receive a notice in the mail about this item, like as a surrounding property owner? Yes, you did, and okay. So this would either be at the next meeting or possibly the following meeting, and it would be posted on the city's webpage the Friday prior to the P&Z meeting. So you'd know whether it was going to be discussed at the next meeting or not. So the Planning and Zoning Commission meets on the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays of the month, except in November. I have to say, to avoid the Thanksgiving holiday, the schedule shifts to the 1st and 3rd Wednesday in November. But the agenda is always posted on the city's webpage. So you can check that before the P&Z meeting, just make sure whether this item is on the next meeting or not. Next meeting is October 22nd, is that correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
October 22nd.
And then the next meeting, so it would be October 22nd, and the following meeting after that would be November 5th.
All right, so just to be clear, we're asking the developer to show us a green space park area, and we're also looking for information on 12th Street development from the city. Is there any other objectives that we need to have for this next meeting? Did that cover it?
I have one more.
Come up to the mic, please, so it's on the record.
Our neighbors and Jordan's back here we're just kind of wondering, is the developer going to be paying for the sidewalk to be brought on 12th Street down? And also, who is paying for the water to be routed? Is that a developer thing or a taxpayer thing? Because I feel like if the developer wants to put this huge thing in, they should be managing the water and paying for the water management. So I guess that's my question, for the developer.
All right, thank you. Sure, come on up, sir. You got to come to the mic, though.
So again, you mentioned the 12th and Union, how it was designed to take the type of traffic that it was. I'd just like to mention that the traffic has increased dramatically since the new high school has been built. So I'd like to take that into consideration also.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we can bring back some information on traffic.
Okay, all right, thank you. And, okay. And then could you, or is that something we're just going to address in the questions next meeting?
The traffic question, I would ask our engineering department, our public works department, if they have
Yep.
done any recent traffic
Okay.
counts or anything on those roads and what they've found.
Okay.
As far as the question about who pays, the developer is responsible for paying for the infrastructure necessary to serve this development. So they have to pay for the stormwater drainage to install the roads, the sidewalks that are associated with this. As far as 12th Street goes, that's outside this development, but it is impacted by this development. That's why the city has an agreement with the developer about they've been paying in over the years toward a fund to improve 12th Street, and 12th Street would include improvements to the roadways. The city would be doing that as a city project, but would be using funds that were contributed by this developer for those improvements.
All right, thank you very much. All right, thank you everyone for coming tonight. We are going to move agenda items 5 and 6 for the Wild Horse Ridge discussion we've been having. We'll move that forward potentially next meeting, but whenever the developer can come back to the city with some information, and we'll move it forward. So that would end the agenda items tonight. Is there any commission updates?
The only update I have is just to remind you about the November and December meetings, that they're on the 1st and 3rd Wednesdays of the month instead of the 2nd and 4th.
Okay.
Just to keep those holiday weeks open at the end of those months.
Okay. All right, thank you. I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.